Hello. In this video I will explain some of the changes to the individual project that will happen in the academic year 2014 and 15. My name is Stefan Blake and I'm the module coordinator for this module. We know that there have been fantastic individual project modules across the faculty, and we have tried to incorporate all of the best practices from across the faculty to create a harmonized and unified approach. All procedures that are described have been worked out by me in conjunction with Joe Maloney and all the discipline reps. The changes have been approved by the faculty management team and the directors of programs. The discipline reps specifically had 8 weeks for providing feedback, and we have listened to all of the feedback provided. You might ask why we want to harmonize the IP across faculty. In order of importance, the reasons for that is to first improve the student experience. For example, we will provide skills lecture across the faculty consistently, and there will be a student conference at the end of the academic year. Secondly, we're trying to improve and harmonize the quality assurance across faculty with harmonized rules for assessment and feedback. Thirdly, we will aim to reduce academic and administrative workload wherever possible. Fourthly, we're going to improve the communication across faculty by organizing a poster day at the end of the year. The key contacts are mainly the discipline representatives as set out here for the different disciplines. There are also a number of admin people and other stakeholders that are listed in the IP document Guidelines for Staff. I should say that this document lives as all other documents on Blackboard, and you have access from today on to the Blackboard site FEE 3003. Nobody in the faculty will continue to do the individual project exactly the way that they did it before. Everybody has small changes, and we have tried to find the best practices across faculty, and we suggest to adopt these practices for everybody in a consistent manner. The IP naturally splits in 3 distinct phases, and each must be completed before the next one begins. Phase 1 is planning the project, and this will end as a milestone associated at the end of week 3, which is called the project plan. In the phase 2, students will prepare their project. In general, this will happen within the weeks 4 to 9, and the associated milestone with that is the interim report, with the deadline at the end of week 9. In the phase 3, students actually do the project, and that will happen after the interim report and will end at the beginning of May next year, and the milestones associated are the written report and the poster. We know that projects can be very different across the faculty. It could be field studies, it could be experimental projects, it could be simulations, and so on. So this scheme that is outlined here doesn't fit every single project, but it covers most of them. If you think that your student needs different timescales, then you are free to talk to the student about that and to adjust the milestones in a way that fits the results that aims at the best results for the individual students. But please keep the discipline rep in the loop. The non-negotiable deadlines are milestone 3 and 4 for the written report and posters, because they are summative, whereas the milestone 1 and the milestone 2 are formative assessments. The roles of all involved in the individual projects. The student roles and the supervisor roles haven't changed much. Here as a reminder, the student's main responsibilities is to manage the workload and to meet all the milestones and agreed goals. The student also has the responsibility to inform the discipline reps if there are any problems with the workload or with their supervisor. The supervisor's role and responsibilities are mainly to be in contact with the student on a regular basis, and of course to help them along with the project, to help with methods, and to give feedback at various points. The role of the discipline rep is new. The discipline reps are responsible for the project allocation. They are responsible to allocate the second markers, all within their discipline. They are also there to nominate a moderator in case of differences in marking. And they also have some other roles like helping with organizing discipline-specific skill support lectures and organize the project plan, small group meetings, and the poster day. Okay, let me remind you of some of the deadlines from the document, the guidance of the students. Just for clarity, the guidance for the students is very basic and is also of interest to the supervisors. And in order not to duplicate any information, please see the guidance for the staff as being on top of the guidance for the students. But there's a lot of information that is also interesting for the supervisors, which can be found in the student guidance, like the exact deadlines. I have tried to put every information in there only once, though, in order to keep clarity. Right. Here's a little bit more of an explanation of what the phases are. The phases and the milestones are outlined in this list. Phase 1 is the project plan, is planning the project, and ends with the deliverable milestone 1 on the 17th of October 2014. And the deliverable is a 5-minute oral presentation in a small group meeting with supervisors and other academics. This will be organized by your discipline rep in week 2. At the end of week 3, students have to submit a layman's summary of their project, a Gantt chart outlining the milestones, a trainings needs analysis, and a recorded session of 1 meeting with your supervisor. That is around 1,000 words. Guidance to this and all of the other milestones are in the respective folders on Blackboard. The second milestone is the interim report, due on the 28th of November 2014. This is around 2,500 words and should contain a literature review, a completed risk assessment and ethics and lab training. The third milestone is the written report, and this will be submitted electronically by the students via Turnitin into Blackboard. And the fourth milestone is the poster presentation, which happened at the 5th of June 2015 at the Boulderwood campus, together with all other students. Let me talk a little bit about changes to the assessments. The first 2 milestones, the project plan and the interim report, are formative assessments, which means the supervisor is supposed to give feedback but not mark these. The project plan have been described roughly already. Here on Blackboard you can find a little bit more information what is expected of the student and also what is expected of the supervisor, what to look out for and what feedback is recommended to give to the student. The interim report is mainly unchanged in structure for most of the faculty, but it is now a formative assessment and not summative, which means there will be no more mark given by the supervisor. There is also a fair bit of guidance on the final written report, who assesses it and how. There is a new marking scheme on Blackboard which contains, for simplification, the following 5 categories, namely student performance, background, design and methods, analysis, interpretation and presentation. New here is the first category of the student performance that is only marked by the supervisor but not by the second marker. The following table explains in a little bit more detail what we're looking for in each of these categories and can be found on Blackboard. The poster presentation is probably the biggest change. The poster day will happen on the 5th of June on the Boulderwood campus, and you should already have an invitation from William Powery blocking this day in your calendar. The students are asked to present a poster, and this poster is marked by a number of members of staff. First of all by the second marker, but not by the supervisor. Another academic from the same discipline, an academic from another discipline, and also a postdoc or a PhD student from the same discipline. Furthermore, there are other markers that can mark posters if they're interested to see it, and there will also be independent poster markers, for example the external examiners who are invited by the discipline reps. Here's a little video of how such a conference looks like in audiology, because we have done these for the last 8 years.
Audiology Student Conference at the University of Southampton. Today is the end of May 2014. This is a special day for our audiology students. Not only is this the last day at university, but it is also the day to present their final year research projects. The students have organized this event themselves and selected the posters and oral presentations. Coffee and food is provided, and this is a rare occasion for all staff, students and external visitors to come together.
What do you feel about the post today?
I think it's a really good experience and a chance to look at other people's work, and I got to have a really good look at what other people have been doing with their projects until today, which we've been so busy doing our own projects. So that's really interesting.
The post day is great. I've really enjoyed the post day. It's a chance to see what everyone else is doing and chat to them and really get to know what they're doing. Also get a chance to recap what you've done on the dissertation and sort of show off your knowledge of it, which is really good. And actually you're recapping yourself, it's re-cementing it, and real sense of pride of what you've managed to achieve.
Okay. There is a newly formulated IP workflow which will also be accessible via Blackboard, that sets out all of the deadlines and who is doing what at what time. If you're interested, please have a look at these. It should be in great detail the exact procedures that happen during the process of the project. Also on Blackboard is a lot of information, and I invite you to have a look there. This is also there is a folder with all admin stuff which contains the module profile, the master list of all allocated projects, assessment forms and further information. And there are folders for each of what we call skills support packages that students have in the first couple of weeks for further information: academic integrity, library research, workshop and labs, risk assessment, ethics, project management, language support, visual communication, and then for each of the milestones: project plan, interim report, written project report and poster presentation. There are also example project reports and posters from previous years, and these will grow over the coming years as we go along and will be filled up by the discipline reps with good examples of work of previous years.